You're Jerry TV, here to make you laugh, be spiritually uplifted, and learn about what's going on. Please subscribe, like, and share. And now, you're Jerry TV.
We're a group of black men, black boys. We were all in a position where we didn't know how to defend ourselves. So the system swept us up and put us into juvenile detention. And I think about all of those different opportunities and how those could have shaped who I am or what I've done. And how, for many of us, we have to sometimes get lucky in order to get out of situations. I think every single one of us has a situation that we can think about to say, man, if I wouldn't have got out of that situation, or I don't know how I got out of that situation.
Joe Madison fan, especially Joe Madison, Black Eagle. So this is something, right? My dad and I, some of the people, we bonded over listening to Joe Madison. And something he always said that we both, clicked with was, is it a moment or a movement? And so, we know about, what happened in 2020 with George Floyd, and there's a lot of folks that were marching all over the country. So my question to each of you is, how can we stop having these moments and then turn them into movements for change? And I know I made it a really difficult answer, it has to be short, but who wants to jump on it first?
Right in. What we're doing with 100 Black Men in Phoenix is preparing our youth. Because we have to understand, brothers, our youth, our young men, our young women, they're looking at us, they're watching us. And if we don't pour into them now, it's going to impact us later. So we must make sure we're pouring into our youth, stress the importance of voting, stress the importance of being in the community and representing. And we will see a brighter day.
Cooperation, collaboration, and communication. When you don't have individuals in your community that look like you got to get out and talk to them about what is important. Because a lot of times the stalemate is not so much the difference that somebody made, it's just that they just don't know. And so just think about the obstacles that Dr. King faced and how we move this forward. The physicalness of all of that. Now it's mental. James Baldwin once said, nothing can be changed until it's faced, and everything faced won't be changed. However, if you don't face on those situations, it's not going to happen. And so youth is an important issue, but we all have to become committees of one. It starts with us, just like a steel lake, you drop a pebble, and it ripples out. The same effect can happen here. It's powerful. And never diminish or never lessen or minimize the power that you have. But we have to communicate, collaborate, and have to cooperate in that particular process.
Brilliant. I'm going to say this, it's super easy. We need to stop focusing on these tweets and start focusing on these streets. Get out there, get involved in an organization, coach a youth sports team, do whatever you can to serve your community. My personal goal, and you are welcome to borrow this and make this your goal too, to be the man I never had in my life.
I think I always hear people talk about having a seat at the table. My experience here in Arizona, I work for the Ohio Democratic Party as well. I helped on Obama's campaign in Ohio. I got a lot of experience, but my experience here in Arizona was so unique. And people always talk about having that seat at the table. Well, I had the seat, right? But our Latino brothers they have more people at the table. But what I learned about having a seat at the table is the people around the table aren't willing to listen. That seat ain't as valuable as you might think. And if the people who look like you aren't there to support you, that seat at the table is even less valuable.
Story and how many other stories of black women, black men, who the system may have not provided an opportunity for them because we didn't know how we could fight back. continued to shape me, and it shapes me to this day when I think about my own little girls. Where it shouldn't be a luxury for them to be able to go to the doctor. But the reality is, here in the state of Arizona, it's the exact same thing. It's a luxury. If you make more than $10.10 in the state of Arizona, and you don't have kids, you don't qualify for Medicaid at all. There's other situations here, we're in the state of Arizona, and other places around the country, where there's laws that are directly impacting us that we may not know about. Whether that's you being 14 years old as a black man with an intent to go across the bridge and steal a bike where you could have been charged as an adult, and it totally changed your life. Or instances where you with your friends and you trying to make some money, you shooting dice and the police come, and you stuck with a charge that you can't get rid of. I think for us, it's about us thinking about what are the experiences that we have in our lives and how we have the ability to shape or change those. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. Government may be one way, being a community leader may be another, being a business owner may be another, but we have the ability to decide that. One thing that I do want to say is that when I served in the legislature, one thing that I learned for sure is it all leads back to money. All of it. The first time I was down there, we had a bill, and it was two sides. That was two lobbying folks who were lobbying against each other. You had the funeral home industry lobbying against the organ donor industry. Think about how is the organ donors beefing with the funeral home? The funeral homes, they wanted to set they wanted to have stronger legislation to say that if you ever have your organs donated, they want stricter requirements. And they said it's for health and safety. What we later found out was the study showed that if folks have their organs donated, they're less likely to have a traditional funeral, which is cutting into the pocketbook of funeral homes. What we also saw was grocery stores, they were beefing with the same folks who produced, eggs. There's a place called Hickman, y'all heard of Hickman? Yeah. Hickman Farms. Hickman Farms, they said, look, eggs should only be on the shelf for 14 days. It's for safety. Grocery stores said they should be on there for at least 3 to 4 weeks. You had the grocery stores, they knew the longer that they could keep the eggs on the shelves, the less that they had to go to Hickman and spend money. And Hickman, for them, the quicker they can get the eggs out, the more money they got. Everything has been about politics, policy, and funding. And tonight, I'm sure through the panel you'll hear about how some of those experiences not only have shaped them, but I think it's important for us to realize that everything is political. We have the power to decide that, and collectively as a community, this year and years in the future, we'll shape that through our experience, we'll shape that through our minds, and we'll shape that through mentorship. Appreciate y'all, thank you.
The finest DJ in the mix.
Dropping some hot bangers right now.